Hello, everybody. Today I'm talking about the new integration that we have done between StoreOnce and Veeam with Veeam 9. I have been working with Veeam 9 since last August or end of July. So I've done a lot of tests in my lab, and I would like to talk to you about all the tests that I have done and the main findings that I have discovered during my tests. So the point is, I don't want to show you everything about the test. You can meet me in my booth. But I would like to highlight you the few 3 points that for me were great and, how to say, they excited me mostly than the other. So the first point that is important is that the reduction in the LAN utilization and bandwidth utilization. Using Catalyst rather than using a NAS connection, you can reduce really greatly the LAN bandwidth required for making any backup or backup copy job. Backup is able to run over LAN, WAN, and fiber channel, so this is a new point. The second exciting point that I would like to highlight to you is regarding synthetic full. Synthetic full is a new feature that I will show you later how it works, and it is really great in the new integration. The third point for today is VSA. VSA is a virtual storage appliance. It is a StoreOnce virtual appliance that is able to run on every virtual environment. We support both vSphere, KVM, or Windows 2012. And it has shown really great performance working with Veeam backup. I have a few numbers to show you. So the first point is the duplication that we are able to reach. In my lab, I have tested several kind of jobs. One of the jobs that I have tested used to write 3% of change every day. And we have seen that for the first full backup, the duplication was not so high because the first full backup is not reducing data a lot. But starting from the second full backup and the incremental backup, the reduction is really great. As you can see in the slide, it is 90 to 1 for the next full backup and 30 to 1 for the next incremental backup. It doesn't mean that you will deduplicate the data so well on the StoreOnce. It means that on the network connectivity, you are reducing the bandwidth utilization of that amount that is shown here. So we can say that basically a 10 gigabit network is without Catalyst is giving you less throughput than 1 gigabit network using Catalyst. So Catalyst is really a new improvement for using with Veeam. The second point I would like to show you is regarding the overall the duplication ratio that you are able to get. If you see the second slide on the right, we can see that we are able to reach about 14-15x in the duplication ratio. On the left, you can see the job duplication. So each job can deduplicate if it is an incremental at 30x. If it is a full, it can deduplicate about 100x. 100x, it is a lot because it is 99%, so it is a huge duplication. And those numbers contribute to build the overall duplication inside the appliance. So the question is, does StoreOnce further reduce the data requirement for Veeam? Well, we have analyzed the situation, and we have seen that numbers are on our side. So numbers are telling us that, yes, we are really reducing the capacity utilization for Veeam. And the reduction is really high. So for instance, you can see that in my job, I've run roughly 1 terabyte I've used 1 terabyte of data. So it is 998 on a traditional storage. And using Veeam optimal deduplication and compression, that amount of data gets reduced to roughly half terabyte. When we write that data to StoreOnce, we further increase the deduplication. So what we are using inside StoreOnce is not this amount of data, but roughly 70 gigabyte. 70 gigabyte is a huge reduction because it means that we reduce from half terabyte to a 7x ratio. If we avoid compressing data and we use a traditional and we use Veeam without any compression and duplication, so we are not using Veeam CPU, we can see that the duplication ratio even grow up to 14x. So the message is StoreOnce is really effective for deduplicating your Veeam data. Another point that for me is very interesting regarding Veeam integration is the synthetic full. Synthetic full is a feature that has been around since a long time ago, but the way in which we implement it is really smart. So imagine with Veeam you have to run only an incremental backup. You never need to run a full backup, but StoreOnce will build a full backup for you. So the first step is asking Veeam to create an incremental. Then inside the job, Veeam will send to StoreOnce the plan for building the next full, and at this point, it is StoreOnce that will execute that plan on his own without requiring any input from Veeam. And at the end, when the full is ready, Veeam will receive the name of the file and will insert that name in its catalog. So the process is, we can say it is 10 times faster than traditional way of doing full backup, because the entire job is offloaded from Veeam and it is running inside StoreOnce. The last thing that we have discovered regards StoreOnce VSA. It was a surprise for me because I've used VSA several times and I've never seen such a good performance that I've seen using it with Veeam. Basically, using StoreOnce, well, I need to tell you what is StoreOnce VSA. StoreOnce VSA, it is a virtual appliance. It runs the entire software of StoreOnce, but it doesn't require a physical hardware, a physical appliance. You can install it in your virtual environment. So in my lab, I install it as a virtual machine with only 2 virtual CPU, so very low powered. I've run a test backup, and I've seen that in the average time, in the time of 11 minutes, it got an average throughput of almost half gigabyte per second, so 447 megabytes per second. This is not the peak throughput, this is the average throughput. So it is something that the appliance is able to run easily. As you can see on the right side of my slide, you can see there is the chart of the CPU utilization of my virtual appliance, and you can see that the bottleneck is the CPU, nothing else. So if we can add more CPU to the VM, you will see even more performance and more throughput. Why VSA could be useful for Veeam? Because the deduplication is 7 times higher than traditional way of writing backup using Veeam. So if you install the VSA and reuse the storage that you are using, you give it 7 times more capacity than you had before. StoreOnce is also making a great duplication for Veeam in a different way. Usually, Veeam makes the duplication on the single file, but with StoreOnce it is possible to write multiple VM job, VM chains, and multiple also backup repository to direct them to the same StoreOnce Catalyst store. In this situation, Catalyst is making the duplication across all the VM that we have inside the Catalyst store, and not only across the same VM or the same chain or the same job. So the duplication is even higher when you run your backup in a real environment. To summarize, we think that for these reasons, StoreOnce is able to increase Veeam scalability for the enterprise environment. we have seen that Veeam can offload the compression and the duplication job from Veeam. We have seen that StoreOnce is able to offload also the generation of full backup, which is a benefit not only for Veeam, but also for your backup, for your storage infrastructure, because running a full backup is very heavy for your storage infrastructure. And finally, we have seen that the duplication is really high, especially across multiple backup, not only for the single VM, but even if you have multiple VM, multiple jobs. We also have a good quota management. This is something that nobody else has. The quota management is not based only on logical capacity, it is based also on physical capacity. What does it mean? It means that you can split the capacity of your StoreOnce appliance among several users, and each user will never use the entire full capacity of your appliance, stopping all the other for working. Physical quota is what you need with the duplicating appliance, because with logical quota it is not enough for protecting others from a wrong job run by a single user. I don't know if there are questions, but I see that there is no audience today, so my presentation is finished. If you want to ask me something, you can come to my booth, and more than willing to show you all the details regarding this test that we have run. Thank you.